but I found that how to get it. What's so funny?
I texted my friend, "What is OMW?" and it autocorrected it to "What is on my way." I guess that answers the question. Sorry. I'm sorry. Okay, I have to take pleasure in these stupid little things.
We do.
Oh,
All right, Shirley's trying to get in. Her computer was off, so she had to boot it up. And she's waiting for it to finish booting, so we might as well get started. Let me make sure the YouTube is working. I don't have a pocket to clip my microphone on. Test, test, test. Alright, I'm hearing me. Somebody talk, make sure I can hear you.
Hello,
Hello, hello.
We're here.
Find your downloads here. Where'd that come from?
So did you figure out your captioning there?
Are you talking to me, Rick?
Either you or Carol.
Mine has been on. I don't need help getting it. It's already on.
Oh, okay.
I don't seem to have it.
I know I selected it last time I was on. Maybe it retained my settings or something.
It could be.
Alrighty, looks like we got the YouTube working. We got the recording going. Let's see if Shirley ever makes it in. So I guess, welcome. What is it, September 13th? 1999. No, Breakaway Day. What is that, September 19th, 1999?
Steve, I'm going to make a quick request to boost your volume in OBS to whatever level is still safe.
Alright, let me get that window open.
The audience voices are coming through on YouTube fine. You're not very loud.
Test, test, test. We'll see how that works. No, I want to change the Logitech volume. There we are.
Why is Frank Grant taking up 2 window spaces? He logged in at 2 places?
Apparently.
He's got a mobile device as well.
Let me start Facebook. Let's make sure Facebook streaming starts. Yeah, today's Breakaway Day, September 13th, 1999. That's when the nuclear waste stockpile on the moon exploded and the moon got blasted out of orbit. Alright, so go live.
I forgot I muted myself. I'm talking and no one hears me.
Alright, so we're live on Facebook. We're live on YouTube. How's the volume, Charlie?
You're still not very loud on YouTube.
Okay, that's weird. Let me set it up higher.
I never.
Input gain, output gain. Yeah, my input gain's as high as it can go. And it's, make sure we're set here. Logitech headset. Yep, it's as, let me move the mic closer. Maybe that'll work. It's peeking into the red. Okay. Well, I see there's Shirley. Now she's got to turn her mic on.
We didn't hear you, Shirley.
All right, I guess I'm okay.
Yep, there you are.
Yes, now you're good.
Yes.
All right, finally, this thing is just so slow. All right, Steve already gave introductions, right?
Basically.
All right, well, I'll like to thank you to our September 13th CIDER board meeting, CIDER meeting on a beautiful fall day, even though it's not really fall yet. So,
It was nice out. Cool though, yeah.
yeah, it's supposed to be nice all week. No more rain for a while. So they say.
And
All right, well, Steve can take it away and start the meeting with Apple News, or I guess you're going to do everything Apple tonight. So, whatever else you want to start with?
Yeah, well, wait for Apple News for later.
I'm going to butt in with the question. Hey, Steve.
You're feeding back. Frank, mute one of your mics. Okay.
Hey, Steve.
You gotta mute your. You're in the chat twice, Frank. Is that intentional?
Well, I was on my phone, and then I got on the phone and on the computer.
You never left on the phone, but I can remove you from this end.
Yeah, moving from there.
Mobile remove.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Now you're on the computer.
Okay. I got a couple of questions. I can't be here very long. I had a total hip replacement 4 weeks ago, so
wow.
so this kind of
Ouch.
hurts a little bit to sit here. But I want to make one testimony for the Apple Watch. Labor Day morning, about 2 o'clock in the morning, my chair tipped over backwards. I slid down, and the only communication I had was calling my son through my watch.
Yep.
So he was able to come to the house and get me. Then he called 911, and they retrieved me off the floor upside down.
Oh my goodness.
You must have slid too slowly for the fall detection to kick in.
Yeah, and it just went back slowly, and the chair's upside down, so I just kept sliding further down.
Were you awake?
Yeah, I was awake. I was moving, twisting around, and the chair went over backwards.
Oh, okay.
But so that's my testimony for the watch. It does work, and so I go by it all the way. My other thing is, has anybody gone with HomeKit for their front door locks? Or have a recommendation?
No, I haven't.
No, I haven't done anything with that.
Okay, I found one. It's called Level, and it's a level replacement cylinder, and it's $200 at Lowe's. What you do, you take the deadbolt and that inner working, inside the door out, and you slide this in, put it in there, close it up, and you never know you changed anything.
Yeah.
But it does go Bluetooth to your HomeKit.
And it still so the iMore review site I just posted, they marked that one as the best overall lock, and it still has a key and a manual tumbler. So
Right.
if your phone doesn't work or you lose power, you can still unlock your house.
Yeah, by looking at it, you never know you changed anything. There's no keypads, no nothing. It's all inside that little hole in your door.
Yeah, the only con
Is there a camera associated with it?
What's that?
Is there a camera associated with it?
No, it's just the lock for the deadbolt.
Oh, okay.
Then you can have a separate doorbell camera.
Yeah, so I'm thinking of getting that because right now I have my garage door, inner door unlocked, and using the garage door opener to get people in. Well, when I fell, I couldn't reach anything else. So I was just wondering if anybody had any recommendations or any knowledge of anything else other than that.
With the locks, are you saying that you use your phone to get in?
Or
Is
your
that what it is?
You can.
or your
What
watch.
happens if something happens with the phone or the watch?
You use your regular key.
Yeah, that
You
was
can still use key.
that's
It does have a key to
there's
it.
a manual key on
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, your key goes in. It only where the bolt goes through from your key, and that never changes. It's just that little mechanism inside that throws the deadbolt. And there's a little battery inside the deadbolt.
But it still has a key. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Amazon had a few doorbell locks that were kind of crazy. That the Amazon delivery person could unlock your door and put a package inside your house and then lock your door again. And people figured out how to bypass that almost immediately and break into houses.
yeah.
So I don't think Amazon.
Yeah, what could go wrong, right?
So by this here, there's no keypads outside. There's no one knows that you made a change.
Yeah. So the link I posted has also has locks from Schlegel and Yale, who are two of the very well-known lock companies. So they've gotten into the smart locks as well.
Yeah, but they all have keypads and
Yeah. So yeah, Schlegel has a keypad with a physical key if you need it.
Yeah.
Yale has two of them, one with a keypad and one with a physical key.
yeah. Well, I kind of like this. They do make one where you touch the outside and it will work it, but I think I'm going with just this inner mechanism. So that's why I was just wondering if anybody else knew anything about them. So I think I'll get that soon, and I can report next month how it works.
All right. You're on the cutting edge.
It's got a
More than one way.
It's got a,
And no more falls. No more wiggling in your chair.
That's right.
it has a
Oh, that's right.
it has 3.8
That's
stars out of 2,200 ratings on Amazon.
But my son went out and bought me a new lift chair Labor Day. So I had to wait 5 days for delivery, but other than that, I'm doing good.
Oh, that's good. No more getting
No
yourself
more
hurt.
antibiotics.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. That's what I need to go. I gotta sign off because I can't sit in this chair anymore. It hurts.
Okay. Well,
No
heal
problem.
well.
I'm glad you're okay, though. All
It was
All
good
right,
to see
thank
you.
you very much for your info.
right. Bye-bye.
All right.
Take care.
You were starting to say something, Charlie?
Earlier, I was going to say, as far as the YouTube volume level is concerned, overall it was kind of loud. But I don't know if you want, and I'm not referring to you, I'm referring to the audience members. But it wasn't so loud that it was distorting.
All right, I can turn that one down a little bit while I got mine up higher. And we'll see who other people watch the YouTube one. All right, anybody else have any non-Apple news? Anything weird happening in the tech world these past month?
I keep
Well,
getting.
there was the Apple security update.
Yeah, there have been several emergency security updates to fix zero-day problems. So there was the Ventura 13.5.1 update, and then like a week later, the 0.2 update came out and then also for the iPhone and the iPad and all the OSs, because they share such a common core base. Most of the time, these zero-day exploits are targeting political dissidents and journalists, controversial journalists. So most people don't have much of a risk, but it's always a good idea to install the update just in case.
Has anybody heard anything about the Frontier FiberNet?
Just that it exists. I don't know of anyone using it yet.
Okay. I'm hoping for green light, but
Oh, yeah. And the interesting thing is we had a power outage, so our power was out, our cable service was out, but green light was still up.
oh,
So I don't know what happened.
That's interesting because their network router is powered. It must have a backup battery in the box that lasted long enough.
No, we have a generator.
Oh, okay.
So our generator kicks in after 30 seconds of no power. And the generator was on probably a couple hours.
Yeah. People, yeah. It used to be you wanted to make sure it was your freezer and your refrigerator were on the generator. Now it's your Wi-Fi router and your television.
Yeah. We've been lost without it.
Well, I use the internet from my phone, so when my power goes out, I can't even call the power company to tell them.
There was some interesting news out of NASA this week. One of the latest Mars rovers, I forget which one it was, Perseverance, has an oxygen generator not a generator, converter on board, where it sucks CO2 out of the atmosphere and breaks it down into oxygen. It's called the Mars Oxygen In Situ Resource Utilization Experiment, or MOXIE. So it's been working the last 2.5 years, and they have generated enough oxygen for a small dog to breathe for 10 hours.
A small dog.
But it's a first step.
They have a long ways to go.
Proof of concept.
Yeah. Well, that was one of the things that we saw in The Martian, is that they had all the equipment that he had to carry with him. He needed the oxygen generator and he needed the CO2 scrubber, and then the radiothermic generator. And the irony there is that generated too much heat, so he was too hot all the time. Let's see what else showed up on.
Was that 10 hours total over the 2 years?
It doesn't really say if it took them 2 years to make that. On the 16th and final run, the instrument made 9.8 grams of oxygen, bringing the total to 122 grams. Yes. So the total over 2.5 years will let a small dog breathe for 10 hours.
Well, Fifi, it's been nice knowing you.
So MOXIE, so it's a physically very small machine itself on the rover, but it can do 12 grams of oxygen per hour. So once they scale it up.
Yeah, that'll be the key, scaling it up.
Yeah. Well, that was Aliens. In fact, the whole Alien trilogy was on last night, and I got sucked into Alien 2 with the oxygen, the atmosphere process.
It's the best one.
Yep. The big oxygen generator. To go to take off and nuke it from orbit. It's the only way to be sure.
Wasn't that like Total Recall? Didn't they, where they were restarting the oxygen on Mars with the machines?
Well, that was, the alien machine. Everyone was afraid to turn the alien machine on because they didn't know what it would do. But apparently the company did know it would generate oxygen, so then they wouldn't be able to sell oxygen anymore. And they'd lose their monopoly stranglehold on Mars, so they didn't want to turn it on. And if we can find lots of oxygen on Mars, yeah, you break down water, you get hydrogen and oxygen, so you have a fuel to burn and oxygen to breathe. And then you put it back together and you get water to drink.
I guess it was India that landed on the South Pole of the moon.
Yeah. And there's another probe that just launched.
I think they found sulfur, too.
Yes, I think, yeah.
And cigarette butts, which was kind of weird.
Yeah, Japan is launching a new a moon lander a week ago, so it's on its way. I think that's going to make it the seventh country that has put a lander on the moon.
The Indian moon landing thing was impressive, but I was even more impressed by that second thing I think Rick might have just referred to, that a solar observatory thing with multiple instruments on it that should provide information on solar mysteries like why the corona is tremendously hotter than the surface of the sun and stuff like that.
Yep.
So, good for them.
I was reading this thing just a little bit ago about the Kia boys. They're planning on going to the moon and see if they can get any cars there. True story. This is
Really? And why do you need a car there if there's no people?
well. Why do they need a car here?
There's 4 cars
just
already
built.
sitting up there abandoned. All you have to do is claim them.
That's right.
What?
Yeah, the 4 lunar rovers
Oh,
that
okay. All
are
right,
left
right.
behind.
All right.
Call them Luna Boys.
Yeah. Alrighty, does anyone have any questions before we get into the meat of the matter?
You mean about help?
Anything about on the computer?
Yeah, for some reason my applications have disappeared on my MacBook.
The folder's empty?
Yes. In fact,
Try doing a search and see where it is. Well, you've got a web browser open now. So if you click and hold the mouse on the icon, there's
okay, it says applications can't be opened because the original item can't be found.
oh, that's a broken alias. Just delete it. The applications are on the hard drive in an application.
Oh, wait.
folder.
Well, how do I get, where's the alias?
Whatever thing you clicked on is the alias, and that's what's broken. It should give you the option to find an original or delete the alias.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. It just has the error message. Well, I could search alias, right?
Well, whatever you clicked on it, you can right-click on it and move to trash.
Oh, all right. So let me.
And if you click on your Finder icon to bring up the Finder in the Go menu.
Yeah.
If you go to the Go menu, there's an Applications icon. Or if you just go to your hard drive, there's an Applications icon.
Oh, okay. Now it turned up with that.
So yeah, somewhere along the way that alias got broken, like aliases tend to do.
Okay. It's still well. So when I go to applications, still I still get that message, but
Delete that icon you're clicking on because that one's broken. If it says it can't find the original, right?
yeah, it won't. It just gives me an okay. It doesn't
Right.
let me delete it.
Right click on it and choose delete. Where are you clicking? Is it an icon on the desktop or is it in the dock?
It's in the application folder. When I click on the applications, I get this message, and then it just says okay, but it won't let me.
Okay, so right click on it and choose delete or move to trash.
It won't. It doesn't do anything. It won't let me. Maybe I can. Yeah, it just says.
If you can left click on it, you should be able to right click on it.
Okay, so when I actually click on the applications, it says the applications can't be open,
Right.
and then it's just okay.
Right, so click OK, and then instead of left clicking on it, right click on it, or control click if you don't have a 2-button mouse.
Okay. No. I can't get rid of it.
Does the menu come up when you control click on it?
And on the applications,
Right. You should be able to right click on it and choose move to trash. And it will move that broken alias to the trash out of the way.
okay, so control click I can do.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen. So, okay, so if I do that on application, it says open a new tab or remove from sidebar, which I don't want to do.
Yeah, you do want to remove it from the sidebar. I thought you said it was in the applications folder, not the sidebar. So the broken alias remove from the sidebar, so you can put a new alias in the sidebar.
Okay, so Finder, view, to add it back in.
Go to the hard drive.
Yeah. Okay.
And open the hard drive up, and there should be an applications folder.
Yes.
And drag that to the sidebar.
Oh, you're just so wonderful. Just so wonderful. Okay. Now, yes, it's acting like normal.
Good.
Thank you.
Yep. I read a story the other day about an IT person who was in the hospital for something or other and kept watching all the nurses and technicians struggle with the computer to log entries, trying to click on each text box to type in the information they needed to do. And he showed them how to hit tab on the keyboard to move to the next text box. No one had ever seen that before. It's a 40-year-old shortcut that we've all taken for granted. And he said, oh my God, you just saved me hours a day of clicking with a stupid mouse. Just hit tab to move to the next text box.
Hey, Steve, did you want to talk at all about the hearings about Google being a monopoly?
No, I haven't been following that one. They usually go after Apple.
So why don't you talk about it, Rick?
Well, I just was listening to the news the other day and noticed that they were having hearings about it, and they're talking about what they should do. Whereas Google's saying, oh, you don't want to interfere with our business and what we're doing.
And we're not a monopoly search engine because DuckDuckGo and Bing and all the other search engines exist.
And, of course, Congress is coming back and saying, yeah, but own 90% of the market.
Yep.
No one uses these other ones much at all.
The scarier thing is that Google is also the largest advertiser on the internet. So there's a lot of fear that they are linking their own ads higher than third-party ads because they own the search and they own the ads. They may end up needing to divest their ad agencies.
The other thing they were looking at is that Google pays Apple billions of dollars a year to have Safari as the default browser in iOS and and on the Mac
and Samsung too.
Right, and
so that it's set up with Google Search as being the default.
Right. But you can change it. But so that's a huge chunk of money to Apple just to let Google be the default search. And what do they say? Several tens of billions.
I have something I run into. I haven't recently, so I don't remember if it's on my MacBook or on my iPad, where I'll go into Safari, and before I can do anything else, a window pops up asking if I want to make Google Chrome my default browser.
$1 billion.
Yeah, they added that recently when you're on the Google search page. it's starting to do that pop-up now. You're on the Google search page. Why don't you use the Google web browser too?
I looked into the settings in the Chrome browser and couldn't see where it was making that the default browser. So I don't know.
It's in system settings is where you set your default browser. Under desktop and dock, annoyingly. The default web browser doesn't really have much to do with desktop and dock, but they had to put it somewhere. Yeah. Here's a question on Google. How do I stop Google from asking me to switch to Chrome? What is the answer?
You don't hear me, but I was laughing again.
Yeah. Dun 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 dun. No. Somebody was saying, how about deleting your cookies? And someone else said, no, that makes it come back again. Supposedly they set a cookie to only show you that once, but I keep getting it over and over and over again. Although it may be coming on different computers, because I work with so many different customers and so many different browsers that I don't remember if it's happening so much on mine or everyone else's.
I have that problem, and I don't work on other people's computers. I just can't keep track of my stuff.
Yeah.
For me, lately it just merges or blends in with other aspects of using a computer, which boil down to you don't want to be in the same room with me because of my language.
Yeah.
I'm increasingly impatient with the crap I have to deal with just to do what I want to do.
And here's someone saying it only happens if your browser is out of date. And other people are saying, no, I can still get it all the time. Someone's saying block ads, block pop-ups. Looks like there's no definitive answer. So there's an example of Google's power. In fact, Microsoft got in trouble for doing something like that. So Microsoft Edge and Bing are the default browser and search engine on Windows. So if you go to Chrome and say you want to download Chrome, Microsoft pops in and says, "Are you sure? You really should use Edge. It's the best browser." No. Well, and the irony is that Edge uses Chromium Core, which Google Chrome is also based on, so you're almost using Chrome already.
Who was saying something about Google wanted to get the Google browser, the Chrome browser, away from using Chromium? Was that you or somebody else?
I don't remember that.
All right, well, don't worry about it.
Well, if we don't have any more news, it's 7:54. If you want to take like a 5-minute break and then start your keynote thing at 8 o'clock.
All right.
Does that sound good? And then you can go right from there.
I think we need a little longer than 5 minutes.
Well, make it 10 minutes. Doesn't matter. It all depends on how long. If you want 10 minutes, we'll go to 8:05. And if everybody's back by then we'll just start.
Okay, that's better.
That was number
Thanks.
just then.
Hi there, this is Nick Tate. I'm super excited to be part of the new documentary, The Eagle Has Landed. An exclusive look starts now.
50 years ago, an icon was born. The Eagle Transporter is one of the greatest sci-fi spacecraft.
I didn't know he was here because he doesn't have cellular, and he never went offline, but he somehow ended up here. Was Charlie there? No.
Ever conceived. To this day, the design provokes an intense devotion among countless fans around the world. The question is, why?
Steve, can you hear me?
Yeah.
You might want to unmute. I was following the sound on YouTube, and it's still interesting that the balance is heavy on the audience members and light on your sound. I don't know what's different this month, and don't go crazy trying to figure it out. But just so you know, and once we get going again, I will resume listening to it. There's nothing to listen to now.
Yeah, it's weird because the meter's up as high as I can go, and it's barely peeking into the yellow, which is low. Logitech headset. Input. Test, 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 test. Ooh, maybe that did it. That could have done it.
And I go into and ate something and came back with energy, and you were gone, and we didn't even
Yeah, that was the only time I thought clear, and I was like, I gotta get some sleep.
But why didn't you say goodbye?
Because you were in there.
Who's beating on something?
So, anyway, for your information, I just saw that Google pays Apple $20 billion
20 billion. Yep.
a year to be the search engine.
Well, that was the last time anyone checked into what the amount was. It could be more now.
Well, this is in 2022.
Okay.
In 2021, it was 15 billion. Now it's up to 20. And this year it could even be more.
In 2020, it says 12 billion, so they're going up rapidly.
Well, Apple has more devices out there every year. I wonder how
So
they figure out that amount.
$5 per device.
Charlie again here. I think whatever you did has improved the balance between yourself and the audience members in
Good.
terms of the volume.
All right, good.
All right, is everybody back? Or no?
They're not back. They wouldn't know that you asked that question.
I know.
No,
Well,
I don't think Rick is back yet.
we keep track of how many people.
We've had 9 so far.
We keep track of how many people participate in the meeting, but we don't have any way of assessing the degree of mental involvement. Well, for instance, I'm here, but
Are you
know,
really? Are you really? Your body is here, but your brain may be somewhere else.
It
Yeah.
does track how much time each person has talked, and how many messages they've sent, and how many times they raised their hand.
really.
Oh, and gives everybody an activity score.
Oh, so if you just sit there and listen, then you get nothing.
Yeah. Because it's, well,
You could be actively listening.
yeah. The system was originally designed for like classroom training, one talker and then all the participants listening and asking questions.
So you're all familiar with Chat GPT. Apparently someone has come out with Cat GPT, and it answers all your questions as though it were a cat. Unfortunately, whenever you ask a question, all it says is meow meow, or meow 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 meow.
There was a South
I think
Park.
they could have been a lot more creative with that than they were.
I agree.
There was a South Park episode last week, 2 weeks ago, where all the boys started using ChatGPT to respond to their girlfriend's text messages. Instead of just a thumbs up or okay, they had ChatGPT generate paragraphs, and it was hilarious. And then
I'll have to look for that one.
one of the teachers, Mr. Garrison, realized, there it is, that he could use ChatGPT to grade the papers too, because students started submitting these long, detailed papers because they were using ChatGPT, and he didn't want to grade them at all. So his boyfriend told him how to use ChatGPT to do the grading. So then the counselor, Mr. Mackey, decided that was bad, and they brought in a mystic to perform ceremonies to find out who's using ChatGPT.
Okay, well, don't give away the whole episode here.
It was a lot like the iTunes license agreement, where they had to go to the Genius Bar and perform the rites of the Toran Ra.
Has anybody done anything with using one AI chat bot or whatever the hell these things are called to evaluate another AI? You know what I'm saying?
No, I haven't done that.
Pardon?
I did see some stuff in the early days where they would have like Siri talk to Google Assistant, talk to Alexa, and just keep one would trigger the next one and then keep going around in circles.
Did it get weirder and weirder, or what?
Yeah. Until Siri would finally say, "I found this on the web," and then it would stop. Because that's what Siri always defaults to. I don't know anything, but I found this on the web.
I think Siri needs a serious upgrade of some sort.
Well, most people claim it's Apple's privacy focus that prevents Siri from learning everything about you, so it's not as good as Google's assistant and Microsoft's and Amazon's assistant, because they track you and know so many details of your life. It's like you put on you tell Siri to put paper towels on your grocery list, and they show up in the mail because Alexa already knew you needed some and just went ahead and ordered it for you.
Sorry, I don't know that one.
Alrighty, well, are we ready to move on to the meat of the matter?
Sure.
Did anyone watch the keynote yesterday? It's available online and on the Apple TV app if you want to watch it. There was a really cute sketch with was it Octavia Butler as Mother Nature? So
I looked for it today on the Apple TV and I couldn't find it. I found all the old ones, but I couldn't find that one.
I saw it when I was with a customer this afternoon, so it's up there now. No, it wasn't her. So yeah, so when Apple often does their state of the environment of how well Octavia Spencer, that's who it was. I knew it was Octavia. How well they're doing on their environmental impact. It's always just, dry numbers. We're reducing carbon footprints and we're reducing plastics and this and that. This time they did this whole big sketch on panicking because Mother Nature was showing up, and even Tim was a little panicked about needing to present their environmental report to Mother Nature. So they're pushing for carbon neutrality by 2030. So all of their stores and factories are currently already carbon neutral. And one of the interesting things that they announced as part of that is they're going to stop using leather in all of their watch bands. So no more Hermes leather watch bands. They've created a synthetic material with a special name that we'll get to.
Pleather.
Yeah. That uses much lower carbon footprint and wastewater than your typical leather-producing animals. All right, so let me share my window. I want to hit that button. And we'll share this window. We'll start with the Apple Watch. So one of the things that was a little unusual was that they only announced a watch and a phone. So no Macs, no iPads, no nothing else. So theoretically, that will be next month. There'll be maybe an iPad announcement in October and maybe a Mac announcement in November. All right, let me get back to this window. So Apple Watch Series 9, smaller, brighter, and mightier. Hey, yeah, okay, so there's a couple of interesting videos about it you can watch. So they really were touting the S9 as the new chip, and it's a SIP, system in a package, which is a little different than the SoC on the Macs, which is system on a chip. Because it's so much smaller space available in the watch. But it has a dual-core CPU and 60% more transistors than the S8 chip and the 4-core neural engine. So theoretically, Siri will be smarter, if we hope that. And they introduced a new double tap feature, which is kind of neat, that we'll get to. So the double tap is designed for when your other hand is full and you can't tap it to answer the phone, or you can't tap it to start or stop your music. So by double tapping your fingers, it can answer the phone, and if you double tap again, it will hang up the phone. If you have music playing, double tap will stop it, and double tap again will start it. So it's kind of a neat option, being able to sense your fingers tapping each other while the watch itself is on your wrist. So the subtle vibrations, going down your finger bones into your wrist. So we have a new gesture. You can now give your watch the double tap. So you can play and pause. You can answer your phone call. Start and stop a timer. So when the timer goes off, you can reply to a message coming in. So it's contextually aware. So when something important happens, it can basically guess what you wanted to do next. And so the common things like when the phone call rings, it will answer the phone. The display is significantly brighter, up to 2,000 nits, so it's easier to read in sunlight, and it doesn't drain the battery any faster, so you don't have to worry about the battery draining. And when you're in a low light situation, it knows, like a movie theater, and it dims it to just 1 nit, so you can still glance at your watch to see what time it is without that big bright light shining on while you're at the theater. and they're tying Siri more into the health app, and Siri requests are now happening on the watch itself instead of needing an internet connection, so that you can ask Siri things without needing an internet connection, and get into your health data. So, like, how did I sleep last night? Assuming you're using the Apple sleep tracking as part of the health app.
Steve, how does that connection work? Where is it getting its information if it's not into an internet connection?
From the watch and the phone. So you can't ask it things that require an internet connection, but it will allow you to get information that's on your watch and on your phone already.
Okay.
They've updated the ultra wideband chip, so now it will easier integrate with a HomePod. So you can be near a HomePod and the watch will automatically know which HomePod you're near, so you can start music on that HomePod versus another HomePod, because we all have multiple HomePods in our house, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, and because of the ultra wideband, if you misplace your phone, with older watches you can make your phone ping, but if you're not close enough to hear it, so it's hard to find it that way. But if your phone and your watch has the ultra wideband chip in it, it will point you directly to the watch, based on distance and angle, until you find your phone. So you typically have the watch on your wrist, and then it will find out where you lost your phone.
Can you do that with a phone to find your watch?
Maybe. I think it works the other way too. You can also use the Find My app to find your watch too. And if if it has the ultra wideband chip, it can do this precision finding. So rather than just having like the GPS coordinates, so I use that to find my iPad. So if it shows it's in the house, I know I brought it home from work, but it won't help me find it exactly in the house because my phone's too old for the ultra wideband. But I can make it ping and then find it later. So if you have the ultra wideband, which is in the last 2 or 3 models, it does help you do this precision finding, so it will point you right to the device. So the new watchOS, watchOS 10. There were a lot of rumors that Apple was going to do something special for the 10th anniversary of the watch. Since the first Apple Watch didn't have a number, it's been retroactively called, Series 0. So this Series 9 is actually the 10th Apple Watch, and running OS 10 on the watch itself. But they didn't really say anything big about it. So maybe next year when they do Watch Series 10, one of the rumors was it was going to do a Roman numeral 10, like macOS did when it went to 10. So then we all had to argue about whether it was 10 or X. A lot of new watch faces available. Some of them have more complications. So it's especially people who use their watch for fitness will often want to have more complications on it to see their current pace, how long they've been doing their current workout. This one's kind of neat. You got the UV index, the wind speed, and the air quality index, all on a weather face. And they're showing you Sonoma, because that's where the next macOS is coming from. And they've added stacks. So here we are. So like the iPhone and iPad have, you can have information stacked on top of each other, and spinning the digital crown moves from stack to stack to stack. So it helps you organize the information you want to see the most of. So commonly you want the weather open and then what your next appointment is. So being able to see both things at once is kind of handy. And in a first for Apple Watch, I don't know how these animations are working on the stream. So the Apple Watch is now carbon neutral. So there's a very tricky thing they talk about with carbon neutrality. So it generates a lot of carbon to create the products, and so what Apple does is it plants trees that offset that amount of carbon. And in fact, they made a point in that sketch. Mother Nature yells at them about it. A lot of companies plant trees, and their environmental person says, "Yeah, but we've planted whole forests." Okay. So it's not that Apple is not producing any carbon; it's that they are planting enough trees and using carbon offsets to make it neutral. So they're not adding any more carbon into the atmosphere than there already is. And eventually we want to be carbon negative, so we can remove some of the carbon from the atmosphere, which is a greenhouse gas, which is one of the leading causes of climate change. So that's nice, being able to go carbon neutral now. So there are cases and band combinations that are carbon neutral that they mark on their page if you're interested in that. They've added more glances, so very similar to the way glances on the phone work. So you can glance at data and then spin the digital crown to get additional information. So they've done more with in the health app to better understand your own mental and physical health, and it's all protected in the secure enclave, so no one can get to it without your passcode. But you can have a family member or anyone else be set up as a health proxy to be able to see your data. And everyone should set up the emergency contact data in their watch. I just got a thought to check mine, that if you are incapacitated or unconscious, first responders know how to bring up your emergency contact data. Sometimes it's called the ICE data, in case of emergency, ICE, in order to see if you have any allergies, to see who to call, and so that's something you may want to set up on your phone or on your watch, phone and watch, basically. The ECG app is now more accurate. Although, footnote 6, footnote 7, this is not a medical diagnostic tool. If you have any questions, contact your doctor. Working through blood oxygen sensor, which especially helps with sleeping. So at night you can see if your blood oxygen is too low. And they've added more control in the sleep setting. What's interesting is they want you to wear the watch while you're sleeping, so it can track your sleep and help in your health data. But then you've got to charge it sometime. So I guess you charge it when you're in the shower. So that half hour a day when you're doing your morning routine to be able to charge.
Is that about what it takes, a half hour?
Well, it does a fast charge up to 80% within, I think it's within 15 minutes, and then it will trickle charge the rest of the way up. Tracking menstrual cycles as well with the thermal sensors. You can now, there's a mindfulness app that you can tell it how you're feeling, and it will help keep track of your state of mind, which can help with depression and other health effects. And the speed of life. Sometimes I just want to smack the marketing people that come up with some of these slogans. So because it's on your wrist, you probably keep it with you all the time. So it's very easy to make phone calls, send messages, and keep in contact with everyone without needing to go all the way back to your phone, without having your phone immediately nearby. Oop, I just saw, Kim, you had your hand up. Did you have a question?
Did you say Kim?
Yeah.
I have my hand up.
Yep.
Well, my LG phone stopped. I couldn't hear you anymore. I closed it and reopened it, and I still couldn't hear you. So I had to go to the iPhone. So which one do I have my hand up on?
It doesn't tell me. It just had your had your username. I didn't see which one it was.
I don't know what happened to the LG. Why it lost the audio, but I didn't put my hand up. It's not
Okay.
up on the iPhone.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I lowered it. Similar to all the previous watches, you can get a cellular version, so you can make phone calls when your phone is not nearby. Additional charges apply. Streaming music, that's pretty normal. Fitness. So a lot of the stuff it still does. They're adding more workout routines, and they have tried to automatically detect when you start a workout and finish a workout, because that's always annoying. You know, you get on the treadmill for half an hour and then realize that you forgot to start it, so it doesn't count. So they've added running and yoga and swimming and steps and hiking. The front crystal is even stronger than it used to be, and even the standard Apple Watch is now water resistant to 50 meters. And then the fall detection and the crash detection has been updated. There was an interesting problem when the crash detection came out last year. There were a lot of reports from roller coasters that you were in a crash because roller coasters are such a high G maneuver. So they had to tweak the software a little bit so you wouldn't get false positives.
Did they end up with emergency responders going to roller coasters and stuff?
Some did, yes, but the watch says, in fact, here it is. Fall detected, calling emergency services. You can stop it yourself if you notice in time that it happened, or you can say I'm okay and it won't call.
Does it make a sound when it triggers that thing?
I think so, a sound and a vibration.
All right.
And it backs off a little bit in sensitivity when you're doing a workout with the workout app, because you may be, running and stopping and squatting, so they don't want it to be triggered accidentally. And if you have on your iPhone, you can use AR to open the Apple Watch and see it in augmented reality on your phone. So you can buy Fitness Plus. You can trade in your old watch. So if you have a Watch Series 8 with enough storage in it, then you might get $190 for your old watch. You'll probably not get that much with an old watch. Lots of bands available now. There were a lot of rumors that Apple was going to change the size of the band connection, so all the old bands would stop working, and that scared and upset a lot of people. And so the Series 9 is now in the product line at $399. The SE is still available at $249. And then the new watch Ultra 2, we'll talk about in a moment, is $799. So the differences between the SE and the 9 are the brightness of the display, the speed of the processor. The 9 has the blood oxygen and ECG app, where the SE does not. The 9 has temperature sensing and better cycle tracking. SOS is the same, water's the same, GPS is the same. Low power mode on the Series 9 can now give you 36 hours of basically telling you the time, so that if you know you're going to be away from charging for a while, you can go into low power mode and it still tracks information. It just doesn't connect to the radios often, so it doesn't eat up the battery. And oops, where was it? Yeah, so lots of different colors available, lots of different um, bands available. Where is the new thing they created? It had a special name that wasn't leather. So let's say bands. Filter by carbon neutral bands. Sport loop, okay. Where is the new material? There it is, fine woven. That's the name of it. So it's very leather-ish, but is not leather. So that will appease the vegans somewhat as well. All right, and then we can go up to the Ultra 2. So this is the high-end, extra rugged. Look at all the complications on that watch face. Of course, there were people on the internet who just bought it because it was the best features watch. They're not necessarily going to go mountain climbing or scuba diving with it, but it's got all the best features. Based on the same S9 processor. Let's see, using a titanium case, so it's even lighter. Up to 100-meter water resistance. So interesting, so 49 millimeters. They didn't go right to the 50 millimeters, which is half an inch. I'm sorry, no, 2 inches, 25 millimeters an inch. So the Watch Ultra can go to 3,000 nits of brightness, where the Series 9 is 2,000 nits. Let's see, we've got the action button. So you can have the action button do a thing, like start your workout, mark a compass point, begin a dive. So depending on what you're doing, you can program the button to do a specific thing. What else did they add? GPS antenna, speakers.
Dumb question here, Steve.
Yep.
Does the watch really have that lump on the bottom like the picture shows?
Yeah, that's the sensors.
Oh, yeah, that's what I figured.
There's probably going to be another picture of it as we go down. 86 decibel siren. So if you're lost in the woods, you can turn the siren on. I read a story about a guy lost in the woods for several days before he was found because he wouldn't answer the rescuer's phone call because he didn't recognize the number.
Right.
So the rescuers are trying to call him to help figure out where he is. He didn't recognize the number, so he didn't answer. All right, digital crown. So depth
And I
gauge.
think I do dumb things.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like someone who shouldn't be rescued.
So standard use, because the watch is bigger, it has a bigger battery. So you can get 3 days of normal use or 36 hours normal use, 72 hours in low power mode. So when you're going hiking, you put it in low power mode because you're not going to be able to charge it. Same S9 processor as the other one. The double tap feature is the same as the other one. Same carbon neutral. A lot of overlap between them. Ouch. Ouch. Now I'm echoing back in. Somebody's echoing me back into the chat. There we are. Let's see. Because the screen is bigger, you can fit more information on it, of course. So especially in the workout apps, you can get more information on your workout. Let's see, dual frequency GPS, so it works in denser urban environments. The band is especially rated for not coming off too easy, so that it will stay on your wrist while you're being rugged and climbing mountains. Let's see, new compass, which is more accurate. In addition to directions, it also gives you elevation and inclination, so you don't get lost while you're on your mountain hike. Let's see, that's the same. That's the same. The tough alpine loop. Yeah, it can replace common dive computers down to 40 meters. It's interesting. So it's water resistant to 100 meters, but the dive computer only works to 40 meters. Because once you go much below 40 or 50 meters, you need to have a decompression tank when you come up.
Right.
Let's see. Yeah. So yeah, I had seen a show where someone bought one, and when you're setting up the watch for the first time, it asks if you want to turn on the dive computer. And he said, yeah, sure. I'm probably never going diving, but let's turn it on. So now it can automatically detect when you go underwater and can start your dive recording. Let's see. An orange band so they can find your body after the shark bites you.
Well, yeah, I was just thinking that probably with all this swell stuff on it, if you drowned, it could figure out time of death,
Yeah.
from when you went into the water and what time it was and when your heart stopped beating and that kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay,
Excellent.
That's all the same. Okay.
I have a question. How come I can't see the presentation?
I don't know. Oh, I see you raised your hand again.
That's why I actually did
Yep.
raise my hand.
Oh, and there's a question from David. Yes, I did. Did what, David? It should show you the presentation window under the thumbnails of all the participants.
I just have the two boxes, the people, like usual.
Are you on a phone again?
I'm on the iPhone.
Yeah, that's probably the screen is too small.
But the LG is doing it too. It showed it to me earlier on the LG, but when I reopened it, it didn't. Do I have to already be in when you start it, maybe?
I don't think so.
I had it before in the LG, and when I reset it because of the audio, which I still don't have, I lost the presentation, and I did not get it when I started the iPhone.
Maybe,
is there a way to...
Maybe leave and come back?
Well, if my theory is that I had to be there before the presentation, that
could be.
So everyone else, stop the presentation so Kim can get back in.
Well, I'm going to switch it to the other screen in a moment.
There's no button, I guess.
No, it just shows out automatically. Try swiping left or right. Maybe because the screen is so small, it's on a different screen.
Oh, I have. Yeah, that's not it.
So if you have an older watch, it may be worth upgrading to a newer watch. There's a nice compare button where you can put in, it shows you what the difference is, between all the new models. And you can also go back to older models so you can compare what you have against what a new model would be. Probably if your watch is more than 2 or 3 generations old, you're probably good to upgrade. But if it's only 1 or 2 generations old, you may not be getting enough to justify the upgrade cost. Although if your watch isn't that old, you get more on a trade-in, or pass it down your family, which is how a lot of people work. Anyone ordered one yet? You can pre-order it now, and it will be available, I think, on the 22nd. Yeah, starting on September 22nd. Let's try to order one and see if the queue has already gotten full. Let's do... That's an interesting band. Let's do this band. And I need a large. Oh, hey, I have an Apple Watch 2. Let's see what it will give me. I don't know what the serial number is. It's very annoying sometimes on Apple's trade-in. Sometimes it asks for the serial number. Sometimes it asks for you to pick what model it is.
Can't the watch tell it what serial number or model it is?
Yeah, if I go in and look at that tiny little screen. On my phone, it's supposed to tell me what the serial number is, too. There it is. So, FH8TNC7HJL. It's a recycle! So, Apple doesn't want any, won't give me any money for a Series 2.
I have a Series 4, and they're offering $200.
Really? That's pretty good for a 4, which is...
Oh, wait a minute. No, I'm sorry. That's for my iPhone 11.
Oh, yeah.
Get
an 11 to a 15? That's pretty good, too.
Yeah.
Let's see. If I want to buy it outright... Nope, I have to pick something. No trade-in. I want to buy it outright. Yeah, let's get Apple Care. In case I break it. All right, so still $922. So that's the that was the Ultra. Let's go back and pick a reasonable Series 9 and see. Go for the less expensive one. I don't know. I kind of like red's a little much. Pink's a little much. This will go midnight. What color are they? So the stainless steel is $300 more. Oh, because they all have GPS in them. So if we go for the midnight, what was that other color? Yeah, that's midnight. I want the larger size. Just GPS, no cellular. Let's see, get a textile band. I like the magnetic loop. Oh, $50 more for the magnetic loop. No trade. Oh, I gotta pick something here. Which one? Oh, what color do I want? Evergreen, taupe, or blue? Well, am I getting a black watch? I would want a black band, wouldn't I? Large. No trade-in. Gonna buy it outright with Apple Care monthly. And unavailable. So that one's already sold out, and they don't know when the new one's coming, or when the next batch is coming. So that often happens with brand new Apple products. If you don't order them on day one, then you may not get it when it's released initially. Did you order yours, Ken? Were you gonna? Did you
Not
say?
yet. Not yet. I want to wait till the first batch is out there and then.
Let other people find the problems.
Yep. Mine still works, so. Same thing with my phone. So. But they will give me $200 for my phone. That's not bad.
Yeah.
For an 11, did you say? $200 for an 11?
Yeah.
So one of the things I've read is that sometimes if you go to Gazelle or some of the other places, you may get more money than Apple's offering, but Apple makes it easiest to just go directly with them. All
In
right.
Gazelle, they may tell you, oops, sorry, but the price is not this, it's this. We had this with our computer, right?
Yeah, once they test, so that they give you an estimate based on the condition, and then once they test it, it can change up or down. Oh, it looks like they don't do watches, but we can say phone. And you said it's which is it, a regular 11 or 11 Pro?
11, regular.
Regular 11. What carrier, or is it unlocked?
It's unlocked.
Okay. What capacity?
128.
128. Click. Does it power on? Yes. Does everything work? Sure. No cracks? Yes. Lightly used? Or flawless? Nothing's ever flawless. 238.
Excuse me.
Yep.
Would I be able to see you going through this process on my screen or not?
Oh shoot. No, I thought it was sending the window, but it's sending the tab. So let me go back to
That's all right.
that tab.
I'm just always checking to see if I'm not with it here.
There we go, Gazelle. There we are. So now the Gazelle tab is open, and I'll stay in that tab for the other one so I don't have to switch it. Yeah, so if it's lightly used, Gazelle will give you $201. Or if it's flawless, $238. So that's not too bad. All right, so let's move over to phone. iPhone. So, well, actually, that's a good place to start. So now that the 15 is out, the 12 is gone, and the 12 was the last one that had a mini option. So no more mini phones. So the mini phone had a bigger screen than the SE, but it was better guts than the SE. So that you've lost your chance if you wanted that. So now you can start at the 13 or 14 or 15. What's kind of nice, if we do here, 13 starts at $599. So if you've got a much older phone, 9 or 10, then you may want to upgrade and not all the way. So $599, $699 for a 14. Let me guess, the 15 is $799.
You know what's strange, Steve? In looking at the site, Apple site, they don't have the 14 Pro or the 14 Pro Max anymore. It's only the 14 and the 14 Plus.
14 Plus, that makes sense. Well, the 14 Pro is basically the same phone as the 15 non-Pro. So what Apple has started doing is the Pro phone filters down. So the 14 Pro became the 13, and now the 15 Pro.
No,
the other way around. Yeah, the 14 Pro became the 13. The 14 Pro.
It would have to.
15.
It would have to. Wouldn't I'm sorry, but wouldn't it have to be that the 13 Pro would become the 14?
Yes, the other way around. Yeah, so the 14 Pro became the 15. So there's no reason to buy 14 Pro because it's the same phone as the 15. So next year we'll see the 15 Pro will become the 16. So we'll see that as we jump into it. With the iPhone 15, Yeah, the dynamic island. They've done if you have the 14 that started with a dynamic island, it's really cool. There's the little black pill size. Stay over here. Okay, we'll go into here and hit pause. And they've used that as part of your screen size. So the front-facing camera, the Face ID sensors are all part of this little tiny bit in the middle. But they've now used that for more of the screen, and it adjusts depending on what you're showing on the screen. So that's kind of neat. And so now the 15 has the dynamic island, which was before it was only a 14 Pro feature. And we can hit continue here. Now the 48 megapixel camera is available in the optical zoom. That was something we should talk about. The glass infused color. So now the glass on the back of the phone has been infused with the color of the phone, rather than just having the color of the phone show through the glass. So that's an interesting option. Gives it kind of a cool look. And they finally added USB-C, so the iPhone 15s all now use USB-C for charging. So the same as all of the other newest devices. And they're also updating the AirPods case with USB-C charging. So now one charger will charge everything. But your old Lightning devices, your chargers will still work, but you may need a different cable to charge the phone. So new colors.
They give you
Go ahead.
chargers now? Do they give you a charger now?
No, chargers are separate. The feeling was that most people already have a charger from their old phone, and they're trying to cut down on waste by including chargers that people don't need. But you can always use an extra charger, so I didn't really buy that argument anyway. It's a way of raising the price of the phone without raising the price of the phone by making the charger separate. And in fact, it violates laws in several other countries because it means the device is unusable as is in the box, because there's no way to charge it without a separate thing. So in some countries, Apple has to include the charger as a bundle, and they just charge you the $20 extra for it anyway. So new colors for the iPhone 15. Let's see, we've got the blue, green, yellow, and pink to go along with the midnight. So the 15 in the 6.1-inch screen, and then the 15 Plus in the 6.7-inch screen. So we got pink and yellow, green, blue, and black. So you have a choice of whether you want 6.1 or 6.7 inches.
Steve, these cameras, the cameras on the 15 are not the same cameras on the 14 Pro.
Not quite.
So it's not the same. It's
right.
Not like the 15, the plain 15 is the 14 Pro.
Right. It's more the internals. The chip in the 15 is what the 14 Pro had. But there's still a differentiation. On the 15, you get 2 camera, and on the 15 Pro, you get the 3 camera. But they did upgrade the camera on the 15 non-Pro, so it is the 48 megapixel sensor that the 14 Pro had. Let's see, Dynamic Island.
But there's no purple. But there's no purple.
No purple, no.
So you have to get the 14 if you want purple.
Well, I don't know. I don't remember what colors the 15 Pro comes in. So we'll look at that when we get there. So just like the 14 and 14 Pro have different color options, the 15 and 15 Pro have color options. Let's see. Yeah, dual ion exchange process for glass. Aerospace grade aluminum enclosure, or aluminium. We always want them to be more rugged, more water resistant. So here, the 48 megapixel main camera, and the 2x zoom optical camera is available now on the non-pro models. And you can do a 4x digital in addition to the 2x telephoto. Portraits are better, so you can choose your focus point when you're making a portrait. So you can have the bokeh, what is it, B-O-Q-U-E, to have one bit of the picture in focus and the other bit not. Personally, I'd rather have both bits in focus. So it could take a picture of one, change the focus, take a picture of the other one, and then merge them together. That would be neat. It automatically will move into portrait mode if it knows, because it can sense it's a portrait picture with a large subject of a person or a dog or a cat. They've added dog and cat automatic albums in the Photos app, so you can find your pets faster. The telephoto lens, all-day battery, up to 26 hours of video playback on the Plus because it's physically bigger, or 20 hours on the regular iPhone, which compares to 3 hours on the 12. So if you watch video a lot on your phone, that would be a really big thing to upgrade. So the A16 chip is what was in the 14 Pro. So now we're getting that into the regular 15. So it uses the 48 megapixel sensor to give you 24 megapixel photos. Significantly faster than the 12. Interesting, they're comparing it to the 12 versus the 13 or 14. USB-C as well. We mentioned that. Emergency calling, emergency SOS via satellite. So you can do emergency text messages on a satellite when you have no cell phone service. Yeah, recycled aluminum. The new iOS. I'm sure with Adam and Chuck next month, we'll talk more about iOS 17 and macOS Sonoma. You can make your own stickers of your pets now. Let's see, everything works together. It's all pretty standard to the old one. Yeah, trade in your old phone, pay over time. Now, what's interesting is some carriers have better deals. So if you go to your carrier, you may get a free phone with a contract rather than needing to pay outright for the phone. Let's see. So the regular 15 starts at $799, and the 15 Pro starts at $999. We can jump over to that. And the big thing with the 15 Pro is it's now a titanium case instead of stainless steel, so it's lighter and more rigid. And it has the A17 Pro chip in it, not just an A17. And the 3 camera lenses again, to give you the longest optical zoom of any iPhone ever. So it's always funny. Every iPhone is the best iPhone ever, and we're usually saying, well, I hope so, because it's a new model. It should be the best one.
So how much zoom on that?
We'll get to that in a moment, because that's one of the special new features.
Uh,
All right, so we have 4 colors: natural titanium, blue titanium, that's almost purple, white titanium or black titanium. I kind of like that blue. Yeah, but no straight purple. Let's see, titanium, we'll keep going here. Aerospace grade titanium design, same skin as the SR-71 Blackbird. And because it's titanium, it's lighter than previous models. So you could go for the bigger screen and it would still be lighter than your old, smaller screen phone. The A17 Pro will be great for gaming. They brought up a couple of game developers during the keynote to show off how great the games were. Let's see. So here we are in the camera. So the camera tends to be the biggest feature they talk about because so many people use the iPhone camera. It's it's a story about the best camera is the one you have with you, and so you frequently will have the camera with you, the phone with you, so you take pictures. So there's 7 lenses built into the camera, so that you can do different types of captures. So there's the ultra wide and macro, regular ultra wide, the regular main 1x at 24 millimeter, 28 millimeter, 35 millimeter, 48 millimeter, so 50 millimeter. So you have a 5x optical zoom. So
That's pretty good.
We'll compare that with the 1x. So that's the 1x picture. And so you can go to 2x or up to 5x now. And then you can still do digital zoom on top of that we'll talk about in a minute. And one of the ways it does that is not... Oh, it's going to go down a couple more first. Yeah, automatically switches to portrait mode. Let's see... 120 millimeter, yeah. So there's being able to zoom in with that 120 millimeter lens. Now, 120 millimeters is 12 centimeters, which is about 5 inches. The lens on your phone doesn't stick out 5 inches. But what the phone can do, and they have a name for it. No, they're not going to tell me it's going to be farther down, I guess. There were rumors that it was going to be called a periscope lens. So the lenses go down the length of the iPhone rather than going across the width, allows you to have a longer lens and bigger zoom. They didn't do it that way. Yeah, USB 3 on the transfer. There was a lot of rumors that Apple was going to limit it to USB 2 speeds, even though it had a USB-C port, and USB-C is almost always associated with USB 3. It does mean you have to get a USB 3 cable. So if you only have a USB 2 cable, it will only work at USB 2 speeds. Unfortunately, most cables don't say what they are on them, so you have to plug them in and check. Let's see, Wi-Fi 6E also built in, the ultra-wide for precision finding. All-day battery life, 29 hours on the 15 Pro Max, because that's the biggest battery. The satellite emergency roadside assistant and emergency SOS. Recycled aluminum. Yep.
Who does the roadside assistance connect to?
Footnote 15. Let's see. 15. Roadside assistance for 2 years with activation based on and other factors. So Apple. Let's see what it says here. So satellite SOS is part of the 911 system, and many 911 operators are starting to do satellite text messaging.
Can they connect you to like the AAA, for example?
Let's see. Yes, it does say AAA.
Through the satellite SOS thing?
No, satellite SOS connects you to a 911 operator. The roadside assistant connects you to AAA.
So depending on what you need it for.
Right.
Whether it's an emergency accident versus I just need I have a dead battery.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I mean, my question has been, I've never tried to do it because I've always had the AAA number on the card in my wallet. But if I were in a situation where, specifically, I'm thinking if I were in Canada and my cellular service did not work there, could a 911 operator in Canada connect me to AAA? You know?
They probably wouldn't. Because 911
Okay.
would be police or fire.
Okay.
So you'd have to call the AAA number. Actually, I don't. Is it 911 in Canada, or do they have a different emergency number?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, it's 911 minus 70%.
Yeah. All right. Let's go back up to the Zoom, and we'll.
999 in England.
Yeah. There we go. Let's see this. 120 millimeter zoom. So typically 120 millimeter zoom is a lens that sticks out 5 inches or so. But now they have a prism. And so the light bounces through the prism to create that 120 millimeter of telephoto. There we go. Tetraprism. So there's 4 prisms to give you that 120 millimeters, plus the 3D sensor and optical stabilization built into so the whole camera rig moves for optical stabilization. So it's not exactly what the periscope lens that people were rumoring about, but it is amazing to have that high an optical zoom in a camera. Twice the zoom of the 12 Pro Max. What about the 13 and 14? So that basically they're saying is if you have a 12, you probably want to upgrade. If you have a 13 or 14, you probably don't need to bother. The differences are minimum between those two. So if we go back up to iPhone, there is a compare. So here you can put in the phone you have. So I have an 11 as well. Oh, 11 had a purple.
That's what I got, 11
Yeah.
for the purple. But it's not a very nice purple. It's a muddy.
It's more of a lavender, I would say, than actual purple.
It's a muddy color purple.
Would it be considered mauve?
Maybe it's more like a,
Yeah.
I don't know, a dull looking purple.
The
I guess
14
is what
purple was a
not
lighter.
vibrant.
Yeah.
I want the
Yeah.
deep purple.
They don't. That purple on the right there.
Yeah, deep
see, that
purple's
would
on
be
the 14
purple.
Pro.
Right.
Which they don't make anymore.
No. But there are
Oh, you
companies
gotta-
that will color it for you. You send it in, and they'll take it apart and paint it, or you can buy it pre-colored.
Or you could buy a case for it that's all one color. Then you can have a pretend purple.
So this comparison will let you put in what you have now, what you're interested in getting, and then you can see the differences between them. And decide if you want to go that far or not. So let's buy. We always like going to the most you can get to see what the most expensive phone is. So the 15 Pro Max with a 6.7-inch screen starts at $11.99. I'm gonna get it in that blue titanium. I like that. Let's go up to 1 terabyte. There were rumors that they were going to go to 2 terabytes on the phone. The iPad has a 2 terabyte model, and no trade-in. So $15.99.
Oh my god.
That's the price of a laptop.
Yeah.
That's before AppleCare.
Yeah, there's no AppleCare listed yet. So if I hit buy now, here's AppleCare. So I'm going to connect to any carrier, buy it unlocked. Now I can do the AppleCare. So there's 2 different AppleCares. The regular AppleCare Plus extends the warranty and gives you accidental damage for $199 or $10 a month. And then there's a theft and loss. So if it's stolen or you lose it completely, then they can replace it. But with the Find My service, if it's lost, you can probably find it. Although we have a lot of customers that leave their phones on airplanes. So yeah, I know it's at the the Frankfurt airport, and I'm not going back there anytime soon, so I'll just buy a new phone.
But if you have that extra Apple Care, then
you can.
It's not going to cost you anything.
Yep.
For how long?
Well, the $199 is for 2 years total, or if you do $9.99 a month, it continues until you cancel. So at the end of the 2 years, you can switch to month and keep your Apple Care going for as long as you want.
Okay, and the same thing with the theft and loss?
Yeah.
That's just an extra added on to the Apple Care.
$13.49 a month.
All right.
To get the theft and loss as well. And unavailable. So they don't even know when this model will be available. For the things I picked. So let's get the 512 one. Unavailable. Nope, really. In blue titanium. So
Really, everybody likes that color.
Doesn't look like any of them are available in 512. Let's go down to the 256. Nope. Maybe if I say what carrier. Nope, unavailable. So I missed it. I missed the first batch of them. So today's day 2. So like I said, if you don't buy it on day 1, you may not get it in the first batch. So expectations are the M3 is probably coming out, and likely the iMac is going to get upgraded with an M3 since it still only has an M1. So a lot of our customers who want more than an M1 or more than a 24-inch monitor, since the iMac is only 24 inches, they discontinued the 27, you can get a Mac Mini with the M2 or even M2 Pro, and then put any size monitor you want on it. And it can end up cheaper than what the 27-inch iMac used to cost. And you still have that bigger screen option. And it's a little more versatile because then you can replace the computer and you can replace the screen in different times. But it is nice having that iMac, that all-in-one, with only one wire going into it for power. And for most people, the M1 is fast enough anyway. Now, I've got a Mac Pro tower in the shop now, and that's kind of fun to take apart and work on. But it's expensive. He's got a bad video card, and it's $1,000 for a new video card. But the computer itself starts at $7,000. So as a percentage of the computer, a replacement video card isn't that much. The weird thing, did I have a compare on Mac? Yes. So you can get the Mac Studio or the Mac Pro. Excuse me. And they have the exact same chip in them. But the Mac Studio is $2,000 and the Mac Pro is $7,000. The main difference is the Mac Pro can do PCI slots. So if you need the expansion capability of PCI and what you want to plug into it doesn't come in Thunderbolt, then you're kind of stuck with that big tower. But it's the same M2 Ultra, the same core count, the same RAM, the same storage. You're just paying for the possibility of PCI slots. Now, does anyone remember we talked about when the 2019 Mac Pro came out, we maxed everything out on it, and it was $60,000, and half of that was RAM. So there's a lot of complaints that the new Mac Pro can only go to 192 gigs of RAM. The old Mac Pro could go to 1,500 gigs of RAM, and that was $25,000, which is ridiculous. So here, 192 gigs of RAM is only $1,600, so that's actually not too bad on top of it. 8 terabyte storage is $2,200. That's pretty high. You'd probably be better off getting an external Thunderbolt drive. Although the internal drives are going to be significantly faster than external. And the market for this computer, Hollywood Video Special Effects, they have the budget for that, and they need the fastest they can get. You might as well get wheels, so it rolls around on the desk better. So we can get the mouse. Let's get the mouse and the trackpad. We'll get the keyboard, and we can have software pre-installed. So we're only at $12,000 maxed out, which is significantly lower than the last model, which was $60,000. So that's kind of interesting. Although, so at $12,000 now, if we go to the Mac Studio and max it out, it's the same processor. So we do the Ultra with 192 storage and 8 terabyte, or 192 RAM, 8 terabyte storage. It's $8,700. So you're paying $4,000 extra to be able to put PCI cards into the computer. And if you're doing super high-end graphics, you may have those super high-end cards that need that. I was like leaving it in my cart, and then I start getting emails from Apple saying, "You left something in your bag. You want to come buy it, please, please?" And then, well, we have to add the display in. I forgot about that. So we got to go to Mac, and then Displays. So there's the 27-inch Studio display, which is only $1,600. Or we can go up to the 32-inch XDR display, and that one is was that 5,000? Yeah, 5,000 or 6,000 for the nano textured glass, and that's a 6K monitor. So video people, we've sold a few of these. Video people doing 4K video. You can see your video at full size and still have space left on your screen for palettes and menus and things. And of course we want to get the stand. So we're at $7,000 for the monitor. So let's add that to the bag. And yeah, we better get AppleCare on that. $200 a year. If I'm buying a $6,000 monitor, I'm going to protect it. All right, so let's review the bag. And how much are we up to? Yeah, $17,000, yeah. Oh, and they give me free shipping. Isn't that nice of them? But $1,200 in tax. But it can be yours for as low as $1,300 a month. That's a mortgage payment. So as the products become available next week, we should start. So pre-order are available. Oh, maybe that's why it says not currently unavailable. Pre-orders haven't started yet, so we can't even start ordering them. So 5 a.m. Pacific on 9/15, you can pre-order it. And if you order within the first couple hours, you may get the model you want on the first day. And then we'll start hearing real-world reviews on how they work. Alrighty, any other questions on that?
All right. Sounds like a lot of money going out of your pocket.
Yeah. Well, and for the market it's pointing to, that's not really much. So that $6,000 monitor is typically replacing a $30,000 Sony reference monitor. So you can buy 3 of them and still not pay as much as you did for the Sony. And
well, I guess
in the graphic arts community, that's what they need.
Well, I guess it all depending on if it for business and everything. It's
Yep.
like it's nothing for an individual. Depending on what you're doing.
You're doing the next Transformers movie, or you're doing the next
No, but I mean
high
for
special effects
an average
movie.
an average person in our club.
Yeah, the Mac Mini is perfectly fine with the M2.
You don't need all the bells and whistles unless you're doing some kind of big project that you're planning to become
even now the
an author.
The MacBook Air, especially the 15-inch MacBook Air at $1299, or the 13-inch at $1099. That's pretty much all any normal user needs. The 13-inch MacBook Pro is still in the product line, and in most respects, it's a lower quality computer than the 13-inch Air. It has a smaller screen. It's 13.3 inches versus 13.6. It's got the lower quality camera, but it has the touch bar. So we've had people buy the 13-inch Pro specifically because they want the touch bar. Okay, fine. And then if you are, and because they want the word pro in their product name. I'm a pro, I need to buy a pro computer so I can watch YouTube videos. Not really. And the people that do professional work, they go for the 14-inch Pro and 16-inch Pro that has the M2 Pro chip in it, or the M2 Max chip, so that they get the power that a professional, video editor, photo editor, music editor really needs.
So that's what I said. If you're just an average user, you don't need all the bells and whistles, depending on what you want to do with it, or just because you have the money to buy it.
Yep.
Steve, I got a question. I got a question that goes back to the iPhone. Do any of them do inductive charging as well as through a charging port?
All of them.
Okay.
When did they start?
Well, that's all right.
So they use the Qi charging standard. So anything that's marked as Qi compatible will work. And Apple has a bunch of their own charging bases for it too.
Okay, thank you.
One of the problems is depending on what case you get, it has to be Qi compatible. So if your case is too thick, then the magnetic induction doesn't work very well.
How do you spell Qi?
QI. Or just wireless charging. iPhone 8 was the first phone where they introduced wireless charging. The 8 and the 10 in the fall of 2017.
What I've been holding off for is that I have a deep and abiding hatred for the lightning cable and port. And so consequently, I may break down and get the 15 because it's USB-C now.
Yep. All right, Rick, what was your question?
On the Apple Watch, the crown of the watch, how easily does that get moved? I mean, does it get moved by accident at all? While you're moving around, or
not really. I haven't found that I've accidentally moved it. In fact, a lot of the times it doesn't. Well, mine is kind of stuck, but I think it's just gunked up. I haven't cleaned it lately. That Mac Break did a segment a couple of weeks ago on clean your watch, because you get a lot of bacteria and from the sweat on your watch.
Okay, thanks.
Clean your watch. Clean your watch band.
The crown on your watch, if you move it right now, I just have the have this on. But if I move the crown, nothing happens.
Right.
Unless I press the apps, and then I can change the apps and everything, then the crown will work. So if you're just, doing work around the house or whatever, even if you rub against the crown, it really won't do anything.
If you have a complication like a calendar event, the crown will let you move forward and backward in time to see what your next event will be.
I was just concerned because I was wondering if the thing got moved accidentally. It could drive you crazy after a while. It's like, how did I get into this? I didn't want to see this. And
yeah,
then the watch would pick up your frustration and your mental anxiety about the whole thing, and
yep.
it could get bad quick.
No, it doesn't really happen. I have more things about doing phone calls from my iPhone when I put it in my pocket than anything I do with my watch.
We've had several hundred years of wristwatches to get that digital crown technology down. Now it's a digital crown instead of an analog crown.
Joke, thank you.
Yeah. Alrighty, any last questions, or should we close down? I wouldn't mind closing down a little early tonight. I've got to pack for my trip tomorrow.
Where are you going?
Going on a camping fly-in trip. It's camping and RC airplanes.
With Matthew.
With Matthew, and down in the Catskill Mountains in Downsville or Shinople.
Who's camping on a Thursday?
Well, we're driving down on Thursday and setting everything up. People have started getting there last weekend, so you got to get there early to get the best spots.
Plus, it's your birthday too, so birthday
Have
present
fun.
from Matthew.
That's next week.
Happy early birthday.
Yeah,
That's
nice.
right, it is.
Actually,
Dorinda's birthday. My
that's-
daughter's birthday on
yeah.
Saturday.
That's something we do need to talk about, Shirley, next board meeting. We're going to be late, so we were thinking of starting the board meeting at 8. Fairport is doing a family fun night that we were going to go to. That
At the high school.
At the high school. It
Are
technically,
we talking next week?
yeah, next week for the board meeting. I'll make sure I put it in the email announcement.
Yes,
Okay.
they're getting ready to have you vote on some new improvements they're going to make to the high school. So they're enticing you with free dinner from the food trucks and free walking through the school and seeing all their new technology, their new robotics classes, and all sorts of stuff to kind of get you like in a good mood before the vote. But hey, I've been to high school since Matthew's been out of school, and that's been quite a few years. And no, I take it back. I went to see The Little Mermaid last spring that they did. But yeah, so I figure, we'll go be part of it. And homecoming is like the beginning of October, which I wanted to do, but I won't be there for that. So it's the community offers these things and we don't end up doing a lot of stuff, which I always feel like, damn, I want to do some of it. All their free concerts, all this stuff, and don't take advantage of it, which is my problem. But anyway, so Steve will be gone for the weekend, so I'll have the whole weekend to myself. So that'll be good. You guys will have fun. You're coming back Sunday afternoon, I assume?
Yeah.
Because how long is it going to take you to get there?
It's about 3.5 hours. We're debating,
Oh.
I'm debating if I want to stop in Hornell because there's a float fly for seaplanes on the way back.
That would be interesting.
I'm taking one of my float planes. In fact, I maidened it the other day at our airstrip, and it surprised me how much control I had over a plane with no wheels. So I could still turn pretty good with the big rudder. I even did a power skid when I landed on the runway.
Well, very good. I'm sure you'll have fun. The weather's supposed to be good. That's the biggest thing.
Yep. Alrighty. So shall we call it a night? Oh,
Yep.
Bob, are you doing your thing
Yeah,
on Saturday?
3:00. I'll send out an invite.
So if anyone's
I went
not
to
on,
a concert today at the JCC. It was a tribute band for Bare Naked Ladies.
Oh,
right.
Very good. They went longer than we expected. And so we're back. But
good.
so anyway, next week and also Saturday, I'll send out invites at 3:00.
Alrighty.
Okay.
And since I'm gone for
All
the
right,
weekend,
guys.
Soundbites is going to be a repeat, so you can listen to it anyway. You may not have heard it the first time. All right, why don't you take us out, Shirley?
All right, very good. We'll see you all next week then. And c'est la vie.
Okay. So have a good weekend.
Bonsoir.
We'll see you.
See ya.
Yep.
All right.
Bye.
Good night.